tuning into this episode of Walden Art, and today I'll be talking about how to draw cracks and how to ink cracks. Now, if you look at the concrete, anywhere that there's concrete, and you look at the lines, notice that these lines, there's edges and straight lines. So when you're inking cracks, this is how you're supposed to follow the texture. So without further ado, let's get to how to ink cracks. Alright, I'm going to show you how I approach inking cracks on the floor. Here's a pencil page where where the Hulk landed, and then he landed on concrete, and then there's cracks. This is done in pencil. So what I've done is I went on Photoshop and I converted it into blue lines. Blue lines looks like this. So we'll get files that's drawn in pencil, and then inkers will get the file and convert it into blue lines. Blue lines, it'll look like this. So when I'm inking, I use 4 different types of tools. These are the 4 tools that I use. One is the Staedtler Pigment Liner. This is my favorite micron pens to use. Another is the Pentel Aquash brush. This is a nylon brush. I also use the Radiograph, Koh-I-Noor Radiograph technical pens. And finally, I also use a crow quill nib that I ink. This is Hunt size 102. For those of you who are interested, you can I'll add links below where you can order it. Anything you order, I get a little bit of kickback, so thank you in advance for that. So when I'm making cracks, what I like to do is I'll use my go-to tool is to use a crow quill. This is the crow quill. So when I use a crow quill, I like to feed my crow quill. So here's a bottle of ink. So what I'll do is I'll take the dropper that comes with the bottle. Oh, another thing I should mention is I have a lot of different types of inks that I use. When I use a crow quill, I like using the Higgins Black Magic ink. That's this one right here. So that little 2-ounce bottle comes with a dropper. The dropper goes like this. So what I'll do is I like feeding it. Some artists, they'll dip the whole quill inside the bottle of ink. I like feeding it. When I feed it, I have more control of how much ink is inside. That way, if it's too much, I'll just take some back, or if it's too little, I just put some back on. I can control exactly how much ink is in there, and it keeps the bottom portion of the quill clean. This way, I don't have to spend that much time cleaning it. So once I start inking, right here, this penciler drew some of the cracks. They're kind of, if you look, they're kind of soft, but in my mind, cracks should be like edgy. So right over here, that's how I approach. I'm going to ink some of this so you can see what I'm doing. I like giving those cracks an edge. It's like this. Even on the rocks, I would give it a harder edge. And sometimes you don't really need to connect all the lines. People who are looking at the artwork, their mind will automatically connect those lines. So right here, you can see there's like open bits over there. And at the same time, when I'm inking cracks, I'm also thinking about light source, where the light's coming from and where there's a shadow. So usually the bottom portion would have a shadow like that, a shadow. So I would make those lines thicker, like this. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I'm just gonna ink all the cracks here. And here, when I'm making cracks, I'm also thinking about where there might be like a deeper line, or where there's a shadow, like that. Okay, I'm gonna continue doing this so you can see. Any of you have questions, just comment down below and I'll answer your questions. Okay, so every so often, your quill starts to run out of ink. So when it runs out of ink, I just go back and then I'll just add more. I just feed more into it. Just like this. Okay, once I feed it, I'll continue inking. Okay, so here's some cracks here. Boom, 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 edgy, like that. And then I'm also controlling how much pressure I'm adding in, how much pressure I'm applying to the quill. It's like this. And then I'll break up the lines so it doesn't look like it's like just a dead flowing line. You want variations as much as you can. When I'm making figures, I like to work on a line weight. When I'm making cracks, basically everything I'm inking, when I'm using a quill or brush, I always like figuring out the line weights. Okay, right over here. So as you notice, when I'm inking these lines, I'm moving very quick because I want those lines to be crisp and edgy. Okay, right over here. I'm gonna ink this rock over here. Like that. Ink another one here. And another good thing about when you're inking backgrounds, you can take some artistic freedom and then you don't have to follow exactly all the lines. Even if you make a mistake and the lines look different than what the penciler had in originally, it's still okay because they're backgrounds anyway. Sometimes the penciler, when they're drawing backgrounds, they're just drawing whatever. And then if you make a mistake, that's okay. And right here, every so often, I'll take like a little rag. If the quill isn't really working that much, I'll take a rag and I'll wipe it down a little bit. Just any kind of rag, just wipe it down. Wipe it down, and then I'll get more ink. I'll feed it. I'll show you. I get a closer shot of this. So I'll feed it like this, and I'll control how much. If it's too much, I'll swipe it towards the side, and I'll put it back onto the holder. Okay, I'm going to continue doing more cracks around here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can get a closer look. So right here, just a lot of sweeping, wiping motion. Okay. So right here, I'm going to pull back, and here we go. You see how the pencil drew this? It's so smooth, those lines. Concrete doesn't crack like that. Concrete has a more edgier crack, just like that, okay? And some rocks over here. You can add a double line there so it looks like a shadow. Okay, and then ink some rocks over here. So look at the corners of the rocks. I'm giving it like a nice sharp edgy corner. Okay, did I run out of ink? I'm gonna feed more ink on this. And you go back there and just add more. So right here, give those corners, give those edge a nice crisp angle. Like this, boom, just like that. Right over here. Okay. Gonna add some more lines here. And it's pretty organic. You want those lines to be, okay, here's a big rock right here. So what I'm going to do is, since this rock is in the foreground, I want to make the holding line. The holding line is the outside of the line. So right here. And keep in mind, when you're inking with the quills, it takes a little bit longer for the ink to dry. When you're using a brush, it dries quicker. So when I'm inking, I try to keep my hand on the outside of the panel. I don't go, go over where my palm would touch the inside. I will also try my best to stay outside of the panel. So I would turn my Bristol board or artwork around. So right here, crack, ink this crack. For me, sometimes to get it started, okay, ran out of ink again. Okay, feed it, wipe it, and then it should be working. Just like this, draw that line. Yeah, I'm gonna ink some of the texture lines over here. So there's a hatch line, so I'm just gonna go right here. Now when I ink hatch lines, I want to keep all those lines parallel to each other, and I like to keep the distance the same. Unless I'm doing a fade, like that. And then here's some more texture. Now here, I'm going to do a fade here. So it's going to be really dark right here, and then as I go out, I'm going to start fading it. See, so the lines here are thicker. As you go out, it goes thinner. Okay, let's see. Then we'll do some more rocks. Here's some floating rocks over here. Make this thicker. Here's some rocks over here. Eat that piece. Another rock here. Okay, get more. Get more ink. And here's another rock here. So thick, thinner here. Now in interior lines, I want to go thick, But you see those angles I'm putting in there? You want that for a concrete texture. Okay, and then right here, I'm gonna start cross-hatching here. Sometimes when I cross-hatch, I like using the side of the quill to cross-hatch. When you're using the side of the quill, instead of inking this way, I'm turning it and inking with the side of the quill like this. You can get a nice, fine, thin hairline by doing that. Okay, and then some textures over here. Okay, and right over here, I'm going to get a very thin line. And when the line cracks like that, that's okay. It adds more to the texture. Okay, and there's some of the cracks. Here we go. I'm going to zoom back so you can take a look. So that's how I approach making cracks. It has that more weighted look, some shadows in between the cracks. Right here, just that I'm going to thicken up certain areas here. If I want that little circle here to be thicker, I'll just go back and thicken up some of these lines. Okay, now we see that circle, that oval going around. Okay, let's do some of these cracks here. There you have it. That's me inking cracks. Show you how I approach inking cracks. Clean the quill. Clean the quill. Always clean your quill when you're done. Just like that. And I'm gonna be sending this out to a Patreon who signs up for my mystery box. On my Patreon page, I have a mystery box. So when I do little things like this, instead of just throwing it away, I'll just give this to a mystery box tier. So I'm gonna sign my name here. There you have it. So that's me inking cracks here. That's the texture. I'll zoom in so you guys can take a closer look. And here's how the pencils looked originally. Okay, there we go. Let me zoom back so you can see all of it right over here. You can compare the inks and then the original pencils. See that? The pencils were drawn very organic and soft. I went in there and I gave it more edgier look. Look, there you go. That's how I approach inking cracks with a quill. And there you have it. That's how I approach inking cracks. Any comments or questions, comment down below and I'll respond to you right away. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like and share, and check out my Patreon page as well as my website. So until then, check out these cracks and look at the textures and see how you approach inking cracks. Take care.